Welcome back, my YouTube friends. This is the Noobish Pilot. We have finally reached the point in our Learn to Fly series for the Boeing 737 MAX 8 and Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 to the takeoff phase of the flight. So we're finally going to get this big bird up in the air, and I'm going to kind of show you how to get it flying, and I'm going to turn on the autopilot, go over some LNAV and VNAV stuff. It's going to be a great time. So we do have everything set from the prior video of our taxiing, so all we have to do now is verify that our landing lights are turned on, as well as our our position lights are going to be set to strobe and steady, so our strobe lights are now on. We have been cleared for departure. We do have our LNAV and VNAV on. The autopilot itself is not turned on. However, the LNAV and VNAV are, so once we get airborne and we flip those on, they should go ahead and take over. Verify that that parking brake is released, and we're going to go ahead and start bringing the engines up. You want to look over here to make sure they even out okay. About 50%, you can see that they're right on tack with each other, and we're going to take them all the way forward. And we begin rolling on down the runway here. We'll keep an eye on our V speeds here. You'll see them as they start to come into the position. So the airspeed is alive right now. You can see we have our V1 and then our V1 rotate speeds coming up. So we can go ahead and announce those out. So we are at V1 and rotate. We're going to pull back gently on the yoke here and get airborne. Keep it a positive rate. Once we do notice that we have a positive rate down on our flight management display, we're going to go ahead and bring the landing gear up, climb on out to 1,000 feet, and then we'll start bringing our flaps in. 1,000 feet, flaps in. I'm now going to go ahead and turn on the autopilot. So once I do that, you can tell that it is turned on now because the CMD is lit up. I do not have my hands on any of the controls at this time. Right now, the airplane is flying itself. It is going by our leg section here. So it's going to try to meet these goals of being at 250 knots. And by the time we reach Jalen, we want to be at 4,479 feet. So it's going to keep us on that target profile of that climb. So you can see that we are getting to that point. And we should notice here, our first turn is coming up, so since we have LNAV on, you're going to see that the airplane is going to start to turn here in just a moment. There it goes. Airplane is now turning. It's going to level back out once it gets back on that magenta line, and then it's just going to continue to do what we're telling it to do. So once we get, by the time we get to once, we want to be at 281 knots at 11,000 feet. You can see that does change kind of as the climb goes on here. But again, if we come outside of the airplane here, I am not flying this airplane at all. Autopilot is doing that. So that is the LNAV and VNAV portion kicking in. And now that we have this auto throttle armed and turned on, that's going to be the speed portion. So you can see here that we have VNAV, we have the speed hold as well as LNAV. And this is going to take us all the way up to our climb and cruise. So again, flying the airliners when you start out, especially in a flight simulator, can be a little daunting at first. There is a lot more advanced things that this aircraft can do. But again, this playlist is strictly for new flyers. It's strictly for folks that are looking to get into Microsoft Flight Simulator and just want to mess around with the airliners, or more particularly the Boeing 737 MAX 8. This is not being flown on VATSIM. This is being flown in the free mode in the Flight Simulator program. So again, this is the time to come in and kind of mess around with the different systems and kind of see how the airplane behaves. So right now, that is it as far as takeoff. We're going to climb on up to our cruising altitude of 34,000 feet using VNAV. And then once we get to cruise, we're just going to simply do that. Sit back, relax, and cruise on out to your destination. Once you reach our top of descent, which again I'll show you as we get a little bit more closer to our destination, what that means, the airplane will start to descend, and then we'll start talking about the arrival and the landing procedures. Again, folks, that's it. Pretty fair, simple, and straightforward. We have reached 10,000 feet now, so we can go ahead and come on up here. We'll let our flight attendants and cabin crew know that we've reached that, and we'll go ahead and kill all of our ground lights, our taxi and landing lights. And we are on the way to Kansas City. Thank you so much, folks, for tuning in to the Noobish Pilot. I certainly do hope you're getting something from this videos. If you are, please go ahead and subscribe and like. And if you have any comments, please leave them below. Truly appreciate you checking us out. And as always, folks, safe travels.